on one of the corners and then use that to mount it.
All right. We're live.
All right.
So you guys keep down over there. All right.
All right.
Hey, this is Brook Drum. And just for a couple of minutes, I thought I would show you the one time my garage is kind of clean. So when I got all the Printabot assets back, this garage you couldn't walk through. But we got a huge, like 25 by 40 foot storage space. And I finally got my wife's car in the garage. So here's the big tour. In no particular order. I did bring one kind of low cut. You see there, it's like, where is it? So there's a pallet rack that's been chopped off on the top so I can get some parts. So there's a bunch of parts for the Simple Pros. So all the powder coated metal and all of the linear rails and carriages and all of the machine parts. I say all, no extruders. But anyway, so I have parts, got to figure out what to do with those. Might do like a bare bones kits, but you know, we'll figure it out. So that's there. Music, of course, thanks to my son, he hung the speakers. The big box build. My desk is getting organized. It's in disarray right now. But I just thought I'd show you how the sausage was made. So let's see. There's probably stuff you're not supposed to see here, but oh well. Easter eggs abound. This is Phil. What's up, Phil?
Hey, how's it going?
And Zach, say hi.
Hi.
Local dudes, 3D printing geeks. And I was making fun of them earlier because they come in here and I have all this stuff and they're like, oh, what can I take home? Just ask me. But anyway, so I'm not doing a lot of work out here. I've been fixing. Today, I say Phil and Zach have been fixing printers for Wide Awake Geeks. I think that podcast is about to drop. But it's up in Marysville, California. And these guys work there, work at the Rockland Hackerspace, volunteer, paid, consulting, all kinds of stuff. But so I have the table from Printabot over here. That was the one that I built with my son and daughters when we moved into the first Printabot space, and that had emotional attachment. It's got a lot of years. If you had an early Printabot, it was probably built on this table. Oh, that's funny. From my first cupcake. But anyway, various boneyard of crazy printers, different projects. You know, just junk. Really, I want to get that pallet rack out of there. Also, let's see over here. I got a Bantam Tools. You know, Bree bought Bantam Tools. So other mill is now Bantam Tools. This is a fantastic PCB mill. I highly endorse it. You know, various tools from Printabot, some of which I don't even know how to use. But this is one of my wiring crimpers is here. The other one's on the other side. I broke that a couple weeks ago, so that's fun. I got to fix that. Hand tools, grinders. The Hackerspace has some plays that we're fixing, and they actually have a couple of play V2s, and that's what they prefer. It shares some parts with the Simple Pro. Never really released. I mean, the files are out there. So, dude, I don't care. I'm showing them.
Oh.
So can you see it? Okay. This is running Clipper.
Yeah, Clipper.
Clipper, and he's just nuts. If you can do it
at 200 to 250 millimeters a second.
Yeah. So he's a speed freak.
Else.
You know how it is. He asks for pain. So he's early adopter of Clipper. He goes really fast. He's got aspirations of multiple colors, right?
So yeah, multiple MCUs.
So Phil, you know, breathes the rare air and can relate to no one because no one is doing this. You've probably compiled Marlin and Clipper how many times in the last 2 months?
Too many times?
100?
Probably like 30 times in the last 2 days.
Oh, dude. Anyway, so we got a bread rack here, and that's another boneyard of like so many crazy parts, just for fun. I'll take you on a tour of, let's just pull out a random thing. Okay, so LCD screen from a pro. not working. Parts for the printer belt. I can play a game. Name that printer. Printer belt parts there. Looks like CNC stuff here.
What's that?
A whole bunch of things that I don't use. These are some Play V2 parts that, you know, I kind of hung on to because it was the first run of like 10. And then I can't bring myself to take the time to build them. More of that. CNC parts. More Play V2 parts. Yeah, the mosquitoes are bad out here. Sheesh. Whole bunch of stuff. The last run of heated beds for the Simple Pros. So I do have some of those. Old printer belt. Boneyard for the various models of printer boards. So this is how it is in my garage, man. Only enough organization as you have to barely scrape by. So here's the wall of parts. This is somewhat organized by my wife, God bless her. If you start up here, you got M2, M2.5, he goes to M3, then goes all the way down to so many nuts and bolts. But we also have, you know, I didn't know what to do with a lot of this stuff. So like this is one of my favorite pieces I've ever made. This is a Smalls LE aluminum block. It was like an upgrade kit. So, you know, I'm left with all these parts. So my thinking is, let's get a business going where I'm paying my taxes, and I can just put all of these discontinued parts online, and including the Simple Pros, and you guys can just buy parts for cheap because I have too many parts. You know what I mean? Anyway, this is the crimping machine that we've used for years. My wife and daughters became an expert at this, but I play on this too. Check this out. Just hold your, this isn't stripped, but, and you got to crimp Molex. And we have other dies. We have a whole system of, this came with a wire cutter. You could program it to the size or the length of the wire and how long you want the stripped ends. If you want the stripped ends to remain on it or to be pulled off, it's like really programmable. And then there's, it straightens the wire through a system of pulleys. I thought I had that out here. Yeah. There's a strain gauge. I mean, you can test the strength of your crimp. This straightens out the wire. And then it just goes chung, 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 and gives you, 1,000 wires of a certain length. And then you crimp them by hand here. Different dies go on here, so we have like 6 different dies. I usually use this one a lot because it's the one we use on the printed board. But anyway, so it's nice to have while the garage is messy and the tools aren't set up to be used like right away. When you need that custom wire and you need it a certain length and you need it with certain connectors, well, give yourself 15 minutes and you can have exactly what you want. So that's like a superpower. That whole wiring system is like 25 grand. Now I'd sell it. The old laser cutter that made all of the first, this was an FS laser. It was about $14,000 when I bought it in 2012. And I think it's an 80 watt. Maybe it's a 60 watt. It's a Chinese laser, but they touted, FS Laser touted that you can full spectrum laser. Let's see right there. Little plug for them because they did sell that to me. Funny story. FS Laser, early on, somebody's calling me. Never mind. Early on, we had it's kind of cheap Chinese parts on some of this stuff. So the power supply had this really finicky plug, and I was dead in the water I hadn't shipped all my Kickstarter stuff yet, and I was just 24, literally around the clock. We had a night shift. We were making the parts for like the LC and the Plus, the original wood parts on there. And one night it died and it wouldn't turn on. And so I was like, Carl, I know a lot more now, but then I was like, I don't know what to do. And so I called Carl and he came over and we had that. He's like, well, let me see what's wrong with it. He tore the whole thing apart, like pulled the electronics off. I just bought it like a month prior. And he had this thing strung apart and he was digging into the boxes. And finally he came to me and he said, hey, I found the problem. This is an incorrectly, this is a part that isn't matched to what it needs to be to do. So I don't know. And so I was like, wow, and you can fix it. He goes, oh yeah. I just replaced it with the right part. And so I said, well, what do you want to do about it? He goes, well, I fixed it, but I want to let FS Laser know. So, you know, Carl's a failure specialist, failure analysis specialist. So he called FS Laser and he wrote down all the stuff. So I called him and I said, hey, we found a faulty part on this unit. And let me tell you, for a very long time, this guy tried to tell me how I didn't know what I was talking about. And I was like, dude, I'm not an electrical engineer, but the guy that did this has done it for 30 years for HP. He says, this is the part you need. He's already found it. This is the wrong rated one. I ended up getting into a shouting match with this guy. And from that point on, I never would call FS Laser. So their customer support early on in 2012, I hope it's gotten better because the guy that I talked to on the phone was like, oof. I actually told the CEO later and he was like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. But that's the way it went. It was touch and go with that laser, but it still works. And it's the same tube. And you learn your way around the kind of the awkward Chinese, you know, interface and stuff, but it works. Anyway, so that's really it. I mean, I have I left the attic. I actually, up in that attic is kind of like the mysterious archives for all sorts of old printers. Phil, you've actually been up there, haven't you?
Oh yeah, this place is crazy.
Yeah, it's no, that's the secret place. Oh yeah, let me show you. So I'm never showing you my attic. But check this out. So that's really running at 200?
Yeah, probably a little bit over. I turned the feed rate up to 120%.
Yeah, have you these parts? Did you design them, or?
I designed both the extruder mount and the blower fan shroud.
Have you shared those files?
I have shared the blower fan, but I have not shared that yet. But
you should put that online somewhere.
I sure will.
What's your website?
VectorMFG.net, Vector Manufacturing.
VectorMFG.net.
Yeah.
If you got a printer bot you want to send to Phil and he'll fix it up real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll do that. So I'm still a little bit skeptical because I don't know Clipper, but I hear very good things about it. It got viable, I guess, around December, Phil tells me. So there's a pretty good community around it.
Oh yeah, major community.
And Phil's available to ask all kinds of geeky questions that I won't know how to answer. But I know that it goes fast. Where's that part that you printed? Did you mount it on something?
I didn't. It's sitting right here.
This is the final. I don't know how we're gonna do that.
Yeah, that's kind of.
But it is a very, very nice print.
0.2 millimeter layer height.
I'm trying to get it to where they can see it, but that is impossible.
Yeah. The beauty of it is getting print time down to like a reasonable amount of time, so that if you're like in a makerspace or you're in a situation where you need a part fast and you don't want to have to spend 4 or 6 hours waiting for it, you can get it done quick.
So that's why you want to go fast.
Yeah.
I will say that's
and height.
It doesn't, honestly, it doesn't look like 200 to me. Now, I'm not saying that you're lying. I'm saying that I've seen like 100, 120.
Yeah.
It all kind of looks the same to me.
Yeah.
But it does produce very good results, and I'll attest to that. So he did a good job there.
The travel speed is 300 millimeters a second. So if you hear it move quickly, the infill, it does that really fast.
And the real benefit isn't on a small part like this. The real benefit is when you're making something that's...
Oh, yeah. These guys are 3D printing enthusiasts, man.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
but big parts would have a bigger
Yeah.
bigger payoff.
It can kind of get up to speed on the long travel moves and stuff, but
And this is 0.2.
Yeah, 0.2.
Yeah.
And then if you increase that nozzle just a little bit, oh my gosh, then you
Oh,
start
right,
to
right.
see like the real
Pumping out
benefits
more.
of the high flow hot end.
Yeah.
And this hot end like outdoes the volcano. Like,
Oh yeah, we got to do an actual test on that. Carl said he's in on that. So here's what I see. So yeah, 1568 Sweetgrass Lane. Now you know where I live. I want you to see it's my wife's car. That's my 65 Kia. Ooh. And then I have, I'll admit it, I have a old crappy Porsche and a newer, not as crappy Porsche Boxster. But this one, I don't know if you can see it. I came out here in the rain the other day and the Porsche was filled with 2 inches of water inside in the passenger seat. Painful. Anyway, so that's the garage tour. That's how Brook works at his house, and I wanted you to see it because it's very, very not professional. It is a guy with a bunch of crap in his garage. So now that you've seen it all and you see how I'm working, I'm going to sit this down and answer a couple questions if I can find a place to sit this down.
Table over there.
Here, I'll just do this because the lighting is a little better. So if you got questions, I'll try to answer them live here. So let's see. Am I at the start? Hello, hiya. How's it going, Brook? It's going good. Brookster, what? Don't call me that. What time does the auction start? Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. I got $25,000 in debt I'd like to pay off. It's a credit card that I used when Chase canceled one of my lines of credit. So, that's the biggest weight on me. If you want everything here and all the printer parts and the water jet and the filtration, I would sell everything for $25K just to get out of the debt. So Brook at printerbot.com if you want to buy everything and come pick it up. And I mean, just the wiring machine is worth $25K.
That's a hell of a deal.
I know. But anyway, there is no auction. There's just like, you want everything? You got it. I'm going to rebuild, but I don't need all this stuff, and I'm underutilizing it. It should go to. I pitched that to a hackerspace, and was like, dude, you're just starting, and you don't even have a CNC. I've got like 4. You can have all this stuff. Just take this weight off my shoulders. Okay. Hope you're doing well, Brook. Wow. All about the cutting edge. But I can't remember. Oh. Okay. Yeah, you can. By the way, I did offer to my patrons. I was like, if you really do want to come by my house, you're welcome. I don't want you to sleep in my house. There's a hotel. There's like one hotel in Lincoln. You can stay here if you want to hang out for a couple of days. I'll put you to work. Come visit me. That's fine. Let's see. He's going to come in from Austria. That's totally fine. What's the plan? Joel Crane says, so Brook, what's the plan? Boutique printers? Printer bot stuff? Just small scale? Struggling to decide, do I just sell everything off like I suggested, or do I build up these simple pros with like the Prusa Einzig board and 24-volt hot ends and at least unload the stock? The first order of business is pay off the debt because I'm not going into another business with debt. And so until this debt's paid off, I'm not doing anything. But boutique printers, yeah, perhaps. The printer belt has a lot of heat around it. Probably not going to do cheap desktop printers anymore. I may release kits. Kits. The one that appeals to me, Joel, is, because I'm not going to make them here, but I could get a kit made for a limited run. So I like that idea of boutique printers, and it's this Smalls or some derivative that is very straightforward. I think it's quite beautiful. I like the wood. So this is it's actually the same specs as the simple metal, but it's linear rails, better equipment, easier to build, extremely rigid. But there's a lot of emotion with people like, oh, PrinterBot's out of business. That emotion's great, but that's not paying customers. So I've got a couple of other irons in the fire. For this next few months, I'm just going to do my side jobs and try to unload the debt and this equipment. So I'm not going to jump in or promise anything yet. Right now, I'm going to get patrons some content and keep designing the box and the CNC and the water jet. So I think this year, the only thing I can say for sure is those 3 machines will exist. It's not a product, it's a project. As the if you got one of the big box kits, or the big box, I keep saying that, E3D, the Brooks box, the frame sitting right there with the quadcopter on it. But it's not a all-in-one kit. It's just an invitation to come build a printer with me again. Are you using high temp hot end to extrude at those speeds?
No.
No, it's a Ubis 13S.
Yeah, HF.
Oh, it is a high flow.
But I have used the regular.
That is not even close to what that volumetric flow can be, though.
No, it's insane what this thing can push out.
Yeah. So it is an HF. They are for sale at ubishotends.com.
Yeah. I mean, you could do the same thing with the high temp.
What temp are you at?
Just 200.
200 with PLA.
Yeah.
That I got out of my attic. It's probably 2 years old. And what speed? 200 travel?
Doing 300 travel.
300 travel.
Yeah, the perimeters, the internal perimeters are 250.
250 internal perimeters.
Yeah. And then the infill's 200.
Infill's 200. This is a lot of settings, dude.
Yeah, I have them all if anybody wants them.
Go to vectormfg.net.
Yeah.
He actually has an article on this. You got Clipper running on a tiny G printer board.
I sure did.
Wow.
But
Sort of.
I
All right.
mean,
the signs of life are there.
I definitely had the steppers moving. I had.
Oh yeah, there was the
temperature, but
it's not done.
Yeah,
but it was moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't have support for hardware PWM, which is needed to make most of it work. So
okay. Anyway, he made progress with that. So that was the White B68. That was the Ubis HF, high flow hot end. Various speeds on the settings and he's running Clipper. Please post a link to this site later. I don't really know what you mean. Oh, somebody did it for you. Charles, thank you. VectorMSG.net. So yeah, I started to read. I was like, oh, how nice. You posted some blog posts. And I opened up the first one and I read it and you were like, I got sick and tired of the Simple Pro and how it operated with the tiny. You were just like bitching and moaning. So I was like, close the website.
I don't think that was me.
Yeah. Oh, dude, come on. The truth is online, man. But
one.
I deserve all of that. I don't mind. I don't mind. I'm frustrated myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so Phil is a firmware god in the Printerbot user Facebook group. God, really? Little G.
I am literally.
You guys don't encourage them. You got to beat them down. They think they're too smart. You have to tell them how they're wrong all the time.
Yeah.
I just got lectured by Zach. How old are you, Zach?
21, as of like 2 days ago.
21. He was lecturing me on how we can't solder a wire to the thermistor. It would be better to just run a new wire. I was like, Zach, how many printers have you shipped? We're soldering the wire. Anyway, it was probably me that installed it wrong. Let's see. I'm looking for questions. Can you share CNC V2 vacuum table files? Yes, I can do that. And I'll put them on brookdrum.com. Did you release printer belt design? brookdrum.com. Look for the one that I did is there, yeah. Only what? Oh, never mind. I need a new printer board for my Metal Plus. ubishotends.com. They're available. He just gave me a couple because I'm sending well, I'm fixing some of these. We used some of these today, but brand new printer board F6 with the USB-B, not the micro USB. And no, we will not make the micro USB again. This is Carl. So he's chosen the more robust USB-B, of course. Has 2 fans, you know, the digital pots and all that. And they're on sale on his site. I'm not going to give you a free one because I need all of the ones I have. And
then, of course, you can get the firmware on the
yep, the firmware for all of this stuff is on github.com/printerbot.
Modern Marlin.
/Modern Marlin. Oh, yeah. Get ready to be dizzy. Because you posted like 40 different versions of the firmware.
I've cleaned it up since then.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil's a great guy. He first out of the gate, there were all of these users or use cases that you could burn the new Marlin 1.9, or at least it was newer.
119.
119.
Yeah.
With, you know, different features. And so there's not enough room on the printer board to fit everything in there. So you kind of pick and choose. So he had a lot of variations, but he's cleaned that up.
Yeah.
So these come already burned with firmware if you want the older, the last one that we shipped with from PrinterBot. But ubishotends.com. He's got hot ends. He's got replacement parts for hot ends. He's got HF hot ends, high flow. He's got 24-volt high temp. He's got PT1000s that he literally makes himself, which is hilarious. But you can use those PT1000s that Carl makes. It's equivalent. And it's just a firmware change. You don't need the booster board like E3D sells. So pretty cool. And he has like the little red socks, you know, I just gave Zach one of those. Parts and printer boards there. He is not going to carry other parts. I need to set up a site to sell off all this stuff. Is the PrinterBot Smalls ever coming for sale in EU? Well, I mean, like I said, if I do a printer kit that is complete, it will be the Smalls LE. That's crazy, dude. Whoa. Sorry. Half of this video is me trying to read the chat room. I'm almost to the end. Any chance you have all the metal parts from a simple metal to convert my V1 to Metal Plus? Not a chance. No. I don't even have Plus. I have the first Beta Plus that didn't even get powder coated. It's all rusted, but I like the patina. That's all I have, literally. I mean, I have random parts, but it's not even worth the trouble. If someone needs replacement wire sets, what's the likelihood of getting a set? What's those dang mosquitoes? What's the likelihood of getting a set made with silicone wire?
Yeah.
Dude, what are we doing?
Bug assault. If someone needs a replacement wire sets. Yeah, I mean, if you need replacement wire, Sean, I'm not going to do it. I would. They're just wire, so like you could solder, you could get a crimper. Silicone wire. I did use silicone wire for the Simple Pro heat beds, and that was a very good choice. I got it from Turnigy, and the really nice quadcopter power wire. Really awesome stuff. Let me see it. Bug assault. This is from the TV show. This is the one I took apart on the TV show and couldn't get it back together, so it came home in parts, and then I finally got it back together. Any plans to update the Adopt-A-Bot? I have issues with the 3D printed Z-Nut. That Z-Nut was not intended to be used 3D printed. I did that as a test and then released the file. But there's actually a McMaster car part that fits in that hole. I wouldn't bother with 3D printed Z-Nut. Get a proper nut for that. They're cheap, like a couple of bucks on McMaster car. And if you're abroad, I mean, it would just replace it with something else. You can design that to accept even off the shelf Acme nuts or whatever you need. But yeah, that was just a exercise in sizing things. So the Adopt-A-Bot redesign, no, that was a gift to the community, and you know, it was a labor of love. Absolutely, not a product. It was a project, And there are actually some great guys that have done some kind of upgrades or at least modifications to that. And I'm just leaving that to the community. As you can imagine, I mean, there's 100 things that I could do. None of them put bread on the table for the family. So I got to focus on what obviously, there's my wife, obviously feeds the family first. Any plans? Okay, I just read that. Just flashing the firmware now in the background of video. Wait, Zach, what's your last name? You're on here?
Yeah.
You're in the room. You talk in English to me if you have some
links and stuff to like
you just wanted to get on there.
The printer about modern Maryland.
I'm here. Yeah, he's right there.
Here, use the bug assault.
No, I don't want to shoot him.
It's harmless. I just shot myself in the foot.
Can you tell us about your side projects that you're making income from? I can be general about it. I'm doing a printer design that's intended for children. There's a software team that is really experienced software team that can do kind of what I was doing with the Simple Pro, cloud slicing. It's like not for consumers per se, but for kids. So it goes the next step in the software to make things really, really easy. You guys would not, I don't know if it's for you because it'd be really cheap. I can see you guys buying this printer just to like, I'm buying that just to see what Brook did and like what software they're using and what's open source, what isn't. But you know, it's aimed for kids. I mean, the print volume is like tiny, tiny, tiny. It's to make little bitty toys. And the reason I like it is nobody's doing that well. So that's one project. And it's pretty much done. Wasn't that much money, but you know, maybe something will work out with the company. The other one is a different style machine. I can't really say much about it. I always forget what I signed off of in these NDAs, so I don't want to say much. But I can tell you that the guy I'm doing it for, you know who it is, and I may have even mentioned it, but it's a new style machine. It's not a 3D printer. We'll go public about it, and it'll be fun. It'll be a few months wait. I don't want to say too much. Let's see. So that's, you know, the other things I'm doing, you know, like I've sold a couple of the Model 3s. We were going to get into the Model 3s today, but that went sideways. You know, there's some prosthetic people that use the Model 3s up in Canada, NIA Technologies, and they're printing with polypropylene.
Huh.
Is that right? Is it the new filament?
I'm not sure.
Polypropylene, that sounds right, because that would be used for prosthetics. It's
yes, it's moldable, like kind of easily afterwards. But anywy,
very hard to print.
They're having trouble with 1 million. It's funny because they had trouble and they were like, Brook, I don't know about these printers. We checked all the settings. All the settings are fine. Everything moves, so it does print. And I said, well, what model are you doing? Well, we're doing legs for people. And I was like, wow, what's the layer height? 1. And I was like, oh, 0.1. That's really
hard.
really. And then he goes, no, 1 millimeter.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, well, so what happens? You get up like 4 or 5 inches and it just starts hitting the print. And I'm like, okay, so it's either over extruding or that material's cooling in weird ways. And like, it's tough when you get up to the 1 millimeter layer height.
Yeah. What nozzle are they using?
It's like a might be a 1.2.
That's too close. So you with 1.2.
1.2 millimeter. No, it's not too close. I've done 3 millimeters with 1 millimeter.
What?
You just trick it. You tell it it's not what it is and over extrude.
That's crazy.
That's funny. But it's the high temp, 24 volt hot end and a big old nozzle. And really that gets down to where like walking on the moon, man, like I've been saying.
Yeah, everything.
Who's printing at 1 millimeter layer height with a 1.2 or 5 nozzle?
I've done that actually.
But they have to, this is going out to like customers in Africa with machines. They're alone and they have to make this work.
Ooh.
It's a tall order. But anyway, so they ordered some printers and I did get paid with that deal. You know, I sold the racks from Printerbot to the neighbor, Surf Pro guy. So, I mean, I'm just like piecing it together. Let's see. Any chances to play V2 kits? Please. I'm not in business, man. There's no chance of anything for sure. I'm not in business yet, but these Play V2s, I mean, you don't understand. It would take me so long to gather all the parts, and then even I thought I had all the parts, I wouldn't have all the parts. And then you'd say, but you didn't give me this, and how do I do that? I have the plans on Fusion. If you come over to my house and just tell me what you need, get it off the cart, collect the parts that I have here, ask me where the other stuff is, like I would help you do that, but I can't, I mean, there's no money in it, you know what I mean? So a lot of these, that's why guys that own companies like this, like Bree Pettis is one of them, you know, he's got tons of stuff left over just in storage, because what do you do with it? It's not even worth the time to try to get it to people. But if people come and ask me for stuff, then I'm pretty generous.
What about the Simple Pro?
Simple Pro, I will put kits together and sell those.
Yeah.
What I mean by kit, though, is like the rails, the carriages, the powder-coated parts. I mentioned this earlier. And the machine parts. That, yeah, $200 or less. I would send that to anybody in the world, because, and I'd send you 250 of them if you wanted them. Yeah, I'd sell all of them. Like I said, I'll give you the whole thing for 25 grand. This isn't an auction, though. Anyway, Brian, Row Motion. Check out Brian. Start asking Brian questions. It's me, Brian. You know the guy that, yeah, the guy I did the TV show with. Brian, he's on here right now. This is Brian. So, Brian, did you get the tour? You probably haven't seen my garage this clean. See, you can actually like get a car in here. But anyway, Brian recognizes all these tools. Brian actually has some of the tools that I had in Printerbot. I sold him some. So, Brian, good to see you, man. Kickstarter. I just hate asking for money, you know. Sounds like a road trip. Yeah, bring it on. Just let me know when you're coming. Scare my children. Daniel Nori. Probably saying that wrong. Good to see you, man. Now, Phil, I got to get the big printer belt back.
Yeah.
I gave it to Phil. He was like, "Oh, can I play with that?" I was like, "Yes, but that's mine."
Yeah.
So he's going to bring that back. If I were to go back into business, a big printer belt is probably one of the things I'd be interested in, because there's so much money when you buy them from other people.
Yeah.
I just hate that.
Yeah.
But I would have to live with it for a long time. I mean, that's really a beta that you have, and you did get it printing, but
well, you know,
there's challenges.
I like that the Rip Rap printer belt worked really well.
Yeah, the smaller one.
Yeah. I think if there was a little design changes in the belt.
Yeah, the design changes I made on that Rip Rap printer belt didn't get trickled down to that big one. That big one was like a showpiece, really. It did work. We printed a little bit on it, not a lot. But anyway, great to see you, Daniel. I know that we talked about giving you a printer belt a long time ago, and that big one was the one I was thinking. But it's like when you give a gift like that to somebody, you're giving them problems. Yeah. Well. So I didn't feel good about giving that to you, Daniel.
It had some issues. I was
hoping for the Printerbot CNC with this year's taxes, Jim. Yeah, I'd probably sell you mine. I just took it apart the other day to do a little stupid thing, but I do have one that works that I would let go of. But you know what I should do is I should get these things, like come out one day and say, okay, this thing, this works. This is mine here. You can buy it and it works. But man, even the shipping on those CNCs is like 70 pounds. If you guys would just come here to get your own stuff, that would be awesome. By the way, I will be at Murph. I think it'll be a little bit smaller this year, but I'm planning at this point, to go. So I should just bring a big truck of somebody brings me a trailer. We will fill the trailer, and then we'll just let people walk off and put a tip jar at Murph. That'd be hilarious. Okay, Joel, we'll see you, man. Yeah, I'm not going to do this for much longer. I just wanted to see if there's any big questions. Pretty much, I think there was curiosity. What is Brook doing? Just basically hanging out with a couple of local geeks, helping them find parts to fix the printers for the hackerspace. And I wanted to say hey to everybody. So I'm going to go. But there it is. Now you've seen the garage in all its glory. And I wish you guys a good day.